Imagine walking down a dark street on October 31st. The air feels colder. Houses glow with carved pumpkins. Children in costumes run past, laughing. Suddenly, you feel it. That strange, beautiful fear that makes your heart beat faster. That feeling has a name in English. We call it spooky. But here is something incredible. That word did not exist in English 200 years ago. Words like ghost changed their meaning completely. And Halloween itself tells a story that connects you to people who lived 2,000 years ago. Welcome to Coffee English. Today, we are stepping into a mystery. We are traveling back in time to discover how one ancient night created words you use every single day. And the best part, understanding these stories will make you remember these words forever. Think about it. When you were a child, did someone tell you a scary story? I am sure you still remember it, right? Stories stick in our minds. They become part of us. That is exactly what we are going to do today. We are going to learn English through the most powerful story of all, the story of Halloween itself. Now let me tell you why this matters. Most English learners try to memorize words like robots. Ghost, meaning a dead person's spirit. Done, next word. But that is not how your brain really works. Your brain loves stories. Your brain loves emotions. Your brain loves mystery. When I tell you that ghost comes from an ancient word that meant breath, suddenly it means something more. When you learn that people 2,000 years ago believed ghosts were invisible breaths moving through darkness, that word becomes alive. It becomes real. And real things, you never forget them. You will not just learn words. You will feel them. You will understand them so deeply that they become part of you. Are you ready? Then let us step through the door and travel back to a night when words were born that would change English forever. "2,000 years ago, in the green hills of Ireland, something strange happened every year. On October 31st, people stopped their normal lives. They put out every fire in their homes, every single one. The villages went completely dark. Why would they do this? They were preparing for Samhain. Say it with me slowly. Samhain. Samhain? The Celts, the people who lived in Ireland and Britain long ago, believed that on this night, the wall between our world and the spirit world became thin. So thin that ghosts could walk through it. Imagine that. You are sitting in your dark house. No fire, no light. Outside, you hear the wind. But is it just wind, or is it something else? Something from the other side. Now, let me ask you something. Have you ever felt this? You are alone at home at night. Everything is quiet. Suddenly, you feel like someone is watching you. Your heart beats faster. You turn around quickly. Nothing is there. But for 1 second, you believed something was there. That feeling, that moment between believing and not believing, that is exactly what Samhain was about. And that is exactly why it created such powerful words in English. The Celts were farmers. They understood nature. They saw that October 31st was special. Summer was dying. Winter was coming. The green world was turning gray and brown. Death and life were dancing together. So they created a festival that honored this change. They built huge bonfires. These were massive fires that you could see from far away. The word bonfire itself comes from this tradition. It comes from bone fire. Why? Because they threw the bones of animals into the fire as gifts to the spirits. Think about that image. A giant fire in the darkness, bones burning, people in strange costumes wearing animal skins and masks. Why costumes? because they wanted to confuse the ghosts. If a ghost saw you and you looked like another ghost, maybe it would leave you alone. Does this sound familiar? Of course it does. This is exactly what children do on Halloween today. They wear costumes. They pretend to be ghosts and monsters. They are doing something people did 2,000 years ago, but they do not even know it. Now here is where it gets interesting for your English learning. Every single tradition I just described created words, and those words are now part of everyday English. When you understand where these words come from, they stop being random sounds. They become stories. And stories, you remember those forever. Let me give you an example. The word hallow. Have you heard this word? Probably not in normal conversation. But you know Halloween, right? Well, Halloween means All Hallows' Eve. Hallow is an Old English word that means holy person or saint. Over time, All Hallows' Evening became Hallowan, then Halloween. See what just happened? You learned that the word itself is a story. It tells you about Christians trying to change a pagan festival into a Christian holiday. It tells you about how words change over time, getting shorter and easier to say. This is the power of etymology. Etymology means the study of where words come from. And I promise you, by the end of this episode, etymology will become your secret weapon for learning English. Let us start with the most obvious Halloween word. Ghost. Say it with me. Ghost. That soft sound at the beginning, that long O sound, and that final scent, it sounds mysterious, does it not? But here is what will blow your mind. 1,000 years ago, in Old English, the word was ghast, and it did not mean a scary spirit of a dead person. It meant breath. It meant the life force inside you. When someone died, people said they gave up the ghost. That phrase is still used today. It means they stopped breathing. They released their life force. Think about your own breathing right now. Feel the air going in and out. That is what ghost originally meant. Your breath, your spirit, your life. And when that life left your body, where did it go? Maybe it stayed around as a ghost. Now, let me teach you something practical. When native speakers want to say, someone left very quietly and suddenly, they say, he ghosted me. This comes from social media culture. If someone stops answering your messages and disappears like a ghost, they ghosted you. So the ancient meaning of ghost is still creating new expressions today. Try saying these sentences out loud. She gave up the ghost after a long battle. He ghosted me after our first date. The old car finally gave up the ghost. Feel how natural it sounds. That is because ghost is one of the most basic, powerful words in English. And now you know its secret. Let us move to another word. Spooky. This word came from Dutch settlers who moved to America in the 1800s. The Dutch word spook meant ghost. Americans loved it. Why? Because spooky sounds exactly like what it means. Say it slowly. Spooky. Hear how it stretches out, how it makes you think of something moving slowly in the shadows. That is called onomatopoeia. It means a word that sounds like what it describes. Here is the interesting part. English has many words for scary, but spooky is special. Spooky is not terrifying. It is that fun kind of scary. The scary you feel when you watch a good horror movie. The scary that makes you excited, not truly afraid. Practice these sentences and notice the difference. That abandoned house looks spooky. I want to explore it. That dark alley looks dangerous. I will not go there. See the difference? Spooky has a special feeling, and now you can use it correctly because you understand its story. Let me tell you about one more word with an incredible story. Nightmare. Everyone knows this word. A nightmare is a bad dream, but do you know what mare means? In Old English, a mare was a demon, a night demon. People believed that when you had a bad dream, it was because a night demon was sitting on your chest, making you feel heavy and scared. They called this demon a mare. So nightmare literally means night demon. Have you ever had a dream where you could not move? Where something heavy was on your chest and you could not breathe? This is called sleep paralysis. It is a real medical condition. But people did not understand it 2,000 years ago, so they created a word, nightmare, and that word is still with us today. When you learn words through stories like this, your brain creates multiple connections. You do not just connect nightmare to bad dream. You connect it to history, to medicine, to culture, to fear. All these connections make the word impossible to forget. Try using it in different ways. Last night, I had a nightmare about being chased. Studying for that exam was a nightmare. The traffic was an absolute nightmare this morning. See how flexible the word is? You can use it for actual dreams, but also for any terrible experience. That is the beauty of English. Old words find new meanings, but they carry their history with them. Now let us talk about something fascinating. Halloween started in Ireland, but today it is huge in America. How did this happen? In the 1840s, Ireland had a terrible disaster called the Great Famine. Potatoes stopped growing. Millions of people died. Millions more left Ireland and sailed to America, hoping for a better life. These Irish immigrants brought their traditions with them, but something interesting happened. Halloween changed in America. It became bigger, louder, and more commercial. Americans started carving pumpkins instead of turnips. They created trick or treating. They made Halloween into a massive celebration. And here is what matters for your English learning. When a tradition travels to a new place, the language around it changes too. New words appear. Old words get new meanings. Let me give you an example. Trick or treat. These three simple words created a whole new tradition. American children turned this into a game. Give me candy, or I will play a trick on you. Of course, nobody really plays tricks anymore, but the phrase stuck. And now, trick or treat is known all over the world. Think about the grammar here. Trick or treat. It is a command, but it is friendly. It is a threat, but it is playful. It uses two short words that rhyme. This makes it easy to remember and fun to say. In modern English, trick has many meanings. If something did the trick, it worked perfectly. If something is tricky, it is difficult or clever. Practice these. Adding some salt did the trick. Now the soup tastes perfect. That math problem was really tricky. Now let us talk about treat. In American English, treat is everywhere. If you treat someone, you pay for their meal or drink. If something is a treat, it is something special and enjoyable. This coffee is my treat. I will pay. Going to that concert was such a treat. I am going to treat myself to a new book this weekend. Notice something? Treat is usually positive. This is why trick or treat works so well. It contrasts something negative with something positive. But here is where it gets really interesting. Halloween words did not just stay in Halloween. They infected all of English. When American culture spread around the world through movies, music, and television, these words went with it. Now, teenagers in Tokyo know what spooky means. Business people in Berlin use nightmare to describe bad projects. This teaches you something crucial about learning English. Do not think of vocabulary as separate boxes. All words are connected. They flow into each other. They create new combinations. They travel across borders and change meaning. When you learn this way, when you see the connections, your English becomes natural. You stop translating in your head. You start thinking in English. Now, as we do in every episode, I want to share a special phrase with you. Today's phrase connects perfectly to our Halloween theme. Are you ready? The phrase is, things that go bump in the night. This phrase comes from an old Scottish prayer. People would say it before going to sleep, asking for protection from things that go bump in the night. Bump is the sound something makes when it hits a wall or falls in the darkness. So things that go bump in the night means mysterious, possibly dangerous things that you cannot see. It means the unknown. It means the things that scare you even though you are not sure they are real. But here is the beautiful part. Modern English speakers use this phrase for anything that scares them unreasonably. Maybe you are afraid of making mistakes when you speak English. That is your thing that goes bump in the night. The phrase is usually used with a little bit of humor. It means, yes, I am scared of this, but I know it is not really dangerous. Let me give you some examples. She used to be afraid of all sorts of things that go bump in the night, but now she lives alone and loves it. Grammar mistakes are just things that go bump in the night for English learners. They seem scary, but they cannot really hurt you. See how flexible it is? You can use it literally for actual scary sounds. Or you can use it metaphorically for anything that scares you more than it should. Think about your own things that go bump in the night. What scares you in your English learning journey? Is it speaking in public? Is it not understanding native speakers? Whatever it is, name it. Say it out loud. It is just a thing that goes bump in the night. And once you name your fears, they become smaller. We have traveled far together today. We started in ancient Ireland with people standing around bonfires trying to talk to spirits. We moved through time, watching words change and spread across oceans. And now, here we are, connected by these ancient words that still live in our language today. But knowledge without action is just entertainment. So here is what I want you to do. First, choose 3 words from today. Maybe ghost, spooky, and nightmare. Maybe bonfire, creepy, and treat. Choose the ones that created images in your mind. Now, close your eyes and remember the stories I told you about these words. See the ancient fires. Feel the cold October air. Imagine the ghosts walking through thin walls between worlds. Good, now write 3 sentences using these words, but not boring sentences. Create sentences with emotion. Create sentences that mean something to you. For example, instead of writing "the house was spooky," write "the spooky old house reminded me of my grandmother's place, where I used to hide during thunderstorms." See the difference? The second sentence is personal. It is real. It will stick in your memory forever. Second action. Go to the comments section and share one thing. It could be your favorite Halloween tradition from your country. It could be a spooky word from your language and its story. It could be one sentence using a word you learned today. Why is this important? Because when you write something down and share it with others, your brain processes it at a deeper level. You move from passive listening to active using. And that is when real learning happens. And here is the magical part. When you share your story, you are not just helping yourself. You are helping thousands of other learners who will read your comment. You are teaching them something new. You are making the world a little bit smaller and a little bit more connected. Third action. This week, use at least one Halloween word in a real conversation. Say something is spooky. Tell someone about a nightmare you had. Use the phrase things that go bump in the night. Words only become truly yours when you use them in real life. Until then, they are just information in your head. But the moment you use a word in a real conversation and someone understands you, that word transforms. It becomes yours forever. I know it might feel scary to use new words, but remember, mistakes are just things that go bump in the night. They seem frightening, but they cannot hurt you. In fact, mistakes are how you learn. So be brave, use these words, play with them, experiment. If you make a mistake, smile and try again. We are reaching the end of our journey today, but in another way, we are just beginning. Because now you have something most English learners do not have. You have stories, you have connections, you have emotional memories linked to words. The next time you see a Halloween decoration or hear someone say ghost, you will remember this episode. You will remember ancient Ireland and Samhain. You will remember bonfires and night demons. You will remember that words are not just sounds. They are stories. They are history. They are magic. And this same approach works for all English learning. Every word you learn has a story. Every expression has a history. When you discover these stories, English stops being a random collection of rules and vocabulary. It becomes a living, breathing thing. It becomes fascinating. Before we finish, I want to leave you with one final thought. Halloween teaches us something important about language and life. It teaches us that scary things, when we face them, when we understand them, become less scary. They become fun. They become part of us. The same is true for learning English. Speaking might feel scary. Making mistakes might feel frightening. But when you face these fears, when you embrace them, they transform. They become adventures. They become the path to fluency. So as you continue your English learning journey, remember the spirit of Halloween. Be brave. Step into the darkness. Explore the unknown. And you will discover that what seemed scary was actually just exciting. What seemed impossible was actually just challenging. Thank you for spending this time with me today. Thank you for being curious. Thank you for being part of the Coffee English community. I will be back with another episode soon, but until then, keep practicing. Keep exploring. Keep being curious about words and their stories. And most importantly, do not forget to leave a comment. Share your story. Remember, you are not alone in this journey. Thousands of learners just like you are listening right now. Together, we are all moving forward. Together, we are all becoming better. Happy Halloween, everyone. May your English be spooky good. May your learning be a treat, not a trick. And may you always remember that every word you learn is a door opening to a new world. Until next time, this is Coffee English. Keep learning, keep growing, and keep discovering the magic inside the English language.